Hi everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I'm going to be playing with July, that's right, I'm current, July 2018 Hero Arts, my monthly hero kit. So unfortunately you saw that big banner there. It is sold out, but hopefully some of these tips and techniques you can use for any card. I'm just happen to be using these images. So I'm going to get into card number 1. Now, watch me blend here. I'm blending Distress Oxides on one of the craft color postcards that came with the kit. You can watch unboxings in other videos. I just kind of wanted to get to the meat of what we're doing here. So you can watch me ink that while I share with you that I broke this video up into two parts. It was about 23 minutes long when it was all together, and I just feel like that's a little bit too long. But I would like to hear from you. Would you rather watch it, separated out with 2 videos? Do you like the long videos? Do you not care? If I have all of the videos edited, I think I can split them up into 2 pretty easily. But that's what I did this time. I actually edited the entire collection, and then I just split it into 2. So let me know your thoughts. But okay, back to the card here. That beautiful sunset there, I was able to achieve on craft cardstock because those are oxides and they're pigmented and they come out beautifully. I stamped in black ink the kind of fair image on the bottom and then the little airplane on the top. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to heat emboss with some red sparkly and clear sparkly the fireworks. And before you do that, because this is oxide ink, make sure that you dry your panel really, really well, or else you'll get oxides everywhere. So just be careful of that. Next, I'm going to take this shimmer spray, and I'm going to use my box that I keep off to the side and spritz this down. I wanted to add a little bit of shimmer to it. I thought this was going to be fun. I love that. And then lastly, some Distress Glaze, because this will be exposed to the elements as I ship it or send it in the mail. And so I just took a makeup brush, one of those sponges, and I'm just covering it. So you'll see here, it's sort of like a waxy finish, and just let that dry, and then that will protect it. It'll kind of be waterproof, right? So I definitely find that a useful product, specifically because this is a postcard. So that is card number 1. Pretty easy to do. It didn't take me too long to do that one. All right, moving on to card number 2. I'm going to do some masking, which is always fun to do. So I'm going to use my Misty here, and I'm going to stamp out the images I want in the front. And then I'm going to mask them off with some full sheet posted tape or posted notes, and then I'm going to stamp the images in the background. So I'm making a scene here, which is the fairgrounds. Unfortunately, because I did 10 cards, I did not keep the coloring in for most of this stuff. So here I used some alcohol markers, and I got my image good to go. And then I cut this down with Lawn Fawn rectangle stitch die. So I used a little die I had in my stash for the clouds, and I just put some Distress Oxide over that to give that effect. And then once that's all good to go, I'm going to stamp out Happy Birthday with the blue ink that came with the kit. That pretty much completes the front panel of the card, but I thought it needed a little bit of oomph on it. So I took some green glitter cardstock from my stash, and I cut that down. I used the largest Lawn Fawn rectangle, cut that down, added some fun foam to the panel behind, and then some really strong score adhesive. So double-sided adhesive, because it's glitter cardstock, I want to make sure it sticks really well. I finished off this card with some glitter sparkle pen from Spectrum Noir, and that just put that, you can see some of those sparkly areas there. And that will finish up card number 2. Okay, so we go a little funky out of order here because I'm going to do 3 and 4. I'm kind of going to do a bunch of panels at once, and then we'll finish off the cards. So more oxides. Can you tell that I've been missing my oxides? But I got to play with them, so this was just heaven for me. And I'm making a rainbow panel. So I used primary colors here, red, yellow, and blue, and then when mixing them, of course, you're going to get your orange and your greens, adding some purple there. Then I added some water droplets, and that'll give me that fun lifted effect for the Distress Oxides. That's always good to do. I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock on this, just for your information, because I feel like they blend beautifully on heat setting this because I am going to die cut it with the wonderful die that came in the kit. So I make 3 cards with this die. So the first one, I'm cutting out the panel, but I want to keep those inner pieces. I call them the innards. And now the innards are going to be going on this plain cardstock here. This is Nina 80 pound. And I just cut out another white panel just so that I can use this as my guide. You can use the original panel as your guide. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Probably because I wanted to make a 3rd card. So I just cut it out with some white cardstock. But I'm putting all of the pieces back in just like a puzzle. I'm going supersonic speed here, but it didn't take too long at all. Just for sake of YouTube, I wanted to make sure that I didn't drag this out. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. So I get about halfway done, and then I'm going to cut to where it's fully finished. So once I get that fully finished, I'm going to remove the white guide that was on there. And that comes up pretty easy. Just make sure you don't get glue seeping into the white guide and then leave it there because you won't be able to get it off. So once that's good to go, I do cut this down. Oh, we'll come back to that as I was. So moving on to card 5, because we are going to go back to 3 and 4. Those were just the backgrounds. 5, I am going to take that white piece and I'm going to use it as a stencil. In fact, I'm not going to use it to pop anything up. So it's going to be my guide here as a stencil using some, I believe this is, it's definitely Wilted Violet, and I want to say Broken China or Salty Ocean. I'm going to mix those colors. Now, this is the only card that I kind of step way outside of the kit because I had these pieces literally on my desk and wanted to put them to good use. So I'm going to put this Celebrate die right here. I'm going to, this is from, I don't want to misspeak, so I'll just list it below. This die is awesome. It's one of the shadow dies, although I didn't use the shadow piece here. I just used a black and a silver one. And then I had this bow that I used from my Stampin' Up! Bow Builder punch. And I'm going to put this card together. So it's just a fun little Celebrate card. And that was it. I didn't do a lot of embellishing on these cards. No reason why. You can add some jewels, some sequins. I think that would be a beautiful touch. I didn't, but yeah, nevertheless. Okay, going back to card number 3, we'll call it. I am going to heat set or heat emboss the sentiment that says enjoy the ride on a black cardstock, and then I'm going to cut that down. I want this to be really thin and just go across the front of the panel. The dye that comes in the kit and the Distress Oxides, they really speak for themselves, so I don't really want to do too much here. But black and white sentiments on rainbow always looks really pretty to me. So that's why I'm going to add this. Once I get this down, popped up on some double foam mounting tape, I am going to mount the entire panel on a very, very thin outline of black matte. And then on my card base, and that's it for that card. Very simple. And I did spritz this one. I don't think I showed it with some shimmer spray as well. And there you can see some of that glitter. Okay, back to card 4 this time. We are going to make a clear acetate card. I've never done that. I had some challenges along the way. But once you do it once, I guess you figure out, right? You learn from your mistakes. But I think one of the biggest challenges I had was I really wanted this to be as clear as possible. And so I had to sacrifice space to write a message. There is a space to write a message, but it's not like a huge one. So the rays of this this die are really thin. So I used 1/8 inch score tape to place this down. And then on the inside, I didn't want all that score tape showing. So I cut out another panel and I'm going to place that in there. But I did work on the little circle in the meantime here, put some Distress Oxides down, didn't even have to re-ink it, just grabbed my tool and boomski, got it inked up. And then I used the white ink that came with the kit. Now, you should know this white ink is extremely juicy. No complaints, but you should practice what you're going to stamp before you actually do, because you have to really tap it in the perfect way. Stamping out some of the balloons that came with the kit and then heat embossing those. I'm going to use some watercolor markers. These are actually the Arteza watercolor markers that I got, and I do have a video coming soon with a very quick review of my opinion on them. I'm going to use them to color, and I love heat embossing first because there's little areas that I can work within, so it's a little bit easier. So there we have my finished balloons. I just went rainbow to match the card. cut them out with the coordinating die, and then we're going to start putting our card together. So I wanted to add one more element to the front of the panel. You'll see that it's going to be the airplane carrying the message, because I feel like there was a sentiment missing. So I'm going to use some liquid adhesive on the circle because I want to be able to wiggle it around a little bit, working with some of that WR wiggle room, right? So I can get it perfect. And then on the inside, this is where I'm going to place the mat. Again, some liquid adhesive so I can make sure that that lines up perfectly. Okay, this is the little airplane carrying my message here, and he's going to go on front of the card. I just stamped in there, hello there, just because, again, it was missing a sentiment. I did heat emboss it, and we're going to start placing down all of our pieces here for this card. So super speed. Can you imagine making cards this fast? That'd be great. All right, that'll do it for part 1 in this series of 10 cards a kit. Come back and join me for part 2 because we're making spinner cards. We're doing all kinds of fun stuff. So we'll see you in the next video. I will link everything I used below. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss anything from me, and also find me on other forums, especially Facebook and Instagram, where I like to share a lot with you guys. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.